And here we go. Game number 1. Adriel versus 40k ban. Let's see what's going to happen. Drill coming in for ban. And bar barrel. Perfect defense in response for Adriel.
And this right there is a perfect example of why we're seeing so much beatdown in the meta. Cycle cards, cycle win conditions, general hog rider, miner, drill, they just get taken out so quick by that dagger Duchess. It's better to just make these massive pushes, stack these pushes in the same lane so the dagger runs out, or sort of the Duchess runs out of those daggers to be able to break through a lot more efficiently.
Yeah, one thing I really like about the Duchess is that it's forcing a bunch of players to completely change how they set up their pushes. It's keeping the game fresh because you can no longer just basically you're just always trying to overwhelm instead of doing split lane pushes, although sometimes you still have to go with the split lane pushes like we saw with Morton's Golem deck, where you have to try and get to not allow the fireball value. So I really like how the Duchess has forced just the evolution of players instead of just, you know, evolutions of cards.
That's a really good call out. Speaking of evolutions of cards and decks and players, we have a Evo Mortar Electro Giant deck here. I mean, I've seen a little bit of it for sure, but it's really interesting to see a double win condition Electro Giant deck. Although I think the Mortar is getting a lot of value so far here, especially one cycle away from the Evo. When Ben doesn't have a great way of dealing with it.
Yeah, and right here, we're seeing a lot of Executioner in the meta. What do you know why we're seeing so much Executioner? Just because it pairs well with the Duchess?
That's a good question. I think the biggest reason is because of or potentially because of the upsurge in Night Witch and also just beatdown decks in general. We see a lot of Giant Night Witch, Golem Night Witch. I've even seen Roll Giant Night Witch. So Electro Giant, Executioner is definitely the best counter to that. Here we have a Electro Giant with Evo Mortar Ops, a lane push though. I really like this push. The poison and the bomb tower really cleaned up fairly well though.
Yeah, right there, the Mortar evolution is going to be able to force out just 1 or 2 extra responses. We see the Ice Spirit right there. Good defense from Ban, and he should be able to get himself another bomb tower, and that's exactly what he does. Right there, we see the change in the Evo Skellies before. It's going to be able to start surrounding and take out the E-Giant entirely. Nowadays, the Evo Skellies do absolutely nothing to the E-Giant.
Wow, and this offense was crazy by Adriel. Ban really defends quite well, though. I mean, the only damage that really came through there was a lightning on the right side tower, which is a solid amount of damage, but overall, this was a fantastic defense. The question, though, is how is Ban going to get damaged, Josh? I mean, other than poison cycling, it seems like these drills are never connected.
Yeah, that's right. Adriel is going to try and just hold captive Ban's cards because he can just place everything in the back, go split lane pressure with E-Giant one lane, Mortar the other lane. And this lightning is also going to be really massive. Ban's just in a world of hurt right now. And that's actually a great situation for Adriel. It's going to allow him to collect a little bit more elixir to help out his push.
That's a good call on the lightning value for Adriel versus Executioner, the bomb tower and stuff like that. It's actually surprising to me that Ban is deciding to go same lane in this matchup. I think you've got to go Ops lane so that these big E-Giant counter pushes can't allow for lightning value on your Executioners.
Yeah, and now we head in 1 minute left in OT. 2238 to 1750, a 500 HP lead and no shot for the Mortar. This is going to be a decent push, but Ban should be able to get back to the bomb tower pretty easily.
Bomb tower not going to be used quite yet. There it is, bomb tower on the board, but I think the lightning can line up on absolutely everything here. But he looks like he's not going to lightning on the offense. He's going to just make sure these drills are never getting damaged. And now the lightning drops, getting that very solid tower damage, over 300 damage on tower. And the pressure is continuing to mount in here from Adriel. He's just spamming the mortars, spamming the Electro Giants to the bridge, getting the lightnings down. And versus the drills, I mean, once again, bowler, a bar barrel here or there. These goblin drills are never connected.
Yeah, 10 seconds left. Should try and get one more Xe or one more lighting on top of the tower. That's exactly what he does. I mean, really, he has no chance, but I don't want to call it too early. With the help of the barbell, that's going to be game 1 for Adriel. A perfect game from him right there.
Right now, in my opinion, though, just because it really counters the Dagger Duchess. And here we go.
Yeah, that's right. Knight being not being allowed for ban in the future is going to be pretty massive. Game number 2, E-Spirit cycled on Adriel's side. I mean, I instantly want to say RG for both of these players. Is that what it's going to be? Wow. And right there, Adriel, huge mishap, missing the fireball right there. And because the Duchess is out of daggers, he's going to also have to respond to this Mother Witch. Rough situation for him.
Yeah, looks like it could be RG. It also feels like it really could be any beatdown card for ban here. And we see Recruits. So Recruits, double Witch with a Skeleton King. Crazy looking deck here. He's got the Battering Evo as well. Is Adriel going to be able to defend this? It doesn't seem like he has the right sort of deck to be able to deal with the Battering.
Yeah, right here. This is absolutely massive. And a lot of it comes down to one early mistake against a pro. Can you... I mean, it's just over just like that because of one missed fireball.
Yeah, I guess that's really what it comes down to. You're down 4 elixirs straight up. You went for the fireball, you missed. You had to play a Lumberjack. The Lumberjack gets no counterpush value versus the Dagger Duchess. We see Recruits, we see the Night Witch, we see the Battering of the Bridge. No building in Adriel's deck. He's got the Fisherman instead, and the Fisherman is really not the card you want to have versus Royal Recruits.
Yeah, I think Adriel's biggest mistake, which it's hard to have a bigger mistake than a missed fireball 30 seconds into the game, is really defending that Mother Witch. I think he should have allowed the Mother Witch to get his dower down to 1,500, 1,700, whatever it would have been, and he would have had the elixir in hand. He would have been able to defend that first push. I really think that's a massive error from Adriel.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And we see him struggling to try and come back here, but the Inferno Dragon as well for the Royal Giant is really putting kibosh on things. And Recruits are probably the best counter to Recruits in the game, but the Fireball on defense, I mean, once again, it's just defense. You need to get damage here with only 35 seconds left, and that is just not going to happen.
One odd thing about the Ram Rider is that it feels like so many of the games, or not the Ram Rider, the Battle Ram, because of the way the Battle Ram looks with the Evo, I always think that it's the Ram Rider. With the Battle Ram, it feels like so often the game is already decided before you get that Evo Battle Ram up.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Evo Battle Ram, when it was first coming out, I kind of seemed like it was going to be super OP. But I mean, when it comes down to it, as long as you can stop that charge, it's really not that big of a deal.
Because I think Adriel only had the Archer Queen for air targeting units, so I mean, we would have seen a ton of value. Not going to be able to witness it though. And game number 3, Miner Fire Spirit coming out from ban. Adriel going to be using Drill. Early log, how does he want to respond? He's going to have the help with the guards placed down on the map.
So we got a Miner control versus a Drill control here. One thing that we're going to see a lot when it comes to these cycle decks with Dagger Duchess in tow is we're going to see a lot of tanks placed to the bridge, maybe like the Knight or even the guards to just get the Dagger Duchess out of daggers before we see that win condition come in.
Yeah, and ban, he is going to be running Evo Wall Breakers. Excited to see that. I don't know how strong they are right now in this meta. It's really difficult to get them to the tower with just how the meta is formed with the Teslas, guards. I mean, even just having Duchess as a tower. We're gonna have to see how ban really wants to apply pressure throughout this game.
Yeah, especially since he doesn't have the tank that I was kind of talking about. I mean, I feel like you really need an Ice Golem or a Knight to play with these Miner control decks to get the Duchess out of daggers. I actually saw Muhammad Light recently using kind of as his main ladder deck, basically a Ghost Ice Golem Miner poison deck, just to spam those Ice Golems at the bridge to get the Duchess out of daggers so that the Miner can go through and get damage as per usual.
Right there, gets the prediction on top of the Bomber. Is it going to matter? It will. Bomber not able to get any shots on top of the tower. Great response from Ban. And that's how you want to do it. Whenever the Evo Bomber is in cycle, you know your opponent is going to be trying to place that at the bridge, trying to get your tower from 2,700 down to 1,200 in 2.5 seconds. Great response from Ban to predict that.
And this is going back to what I was talking about. You have to always know when your opponent's Evo Bomber is in cycle. If you don't know, like you said, I mean, it's going to get so much damage. So really good job by Ban keeping track of that and always predicting with the cheap card of the bridge. Because if you predict with the cheap card, the Fire Spirit, then it's not a big deal if you do miss that prediction and the opponent doesn't play the Evo Bomber.
Yeah, right here, Bomber is going to be able to take out the wall breakers. Huge mishap for Ban. That can be a game ender right there to, just waste your evolution. And Ban's already going to be struggling on defense because he's always using this Royal delivery. It feels like the Goblins are always going to get 1 stab early or 3 stabs late. Right there, I wasn't counting, but that had to be at least 5 or 6 shots from the Goblins.
Yeah, a lot of damage there, and it seemed like the prediction on the Evo Bomber was a good play from Ben there, but the Evo Bomber ends up actually distracting some of the Duchess's daggers and allows the drill to somehow get a nice connection. That's what you got to do. You always have to have something taking out the daggers here before you get that connection, so that the drill has potential to get that damage, and that's exactly what he's done here.
Right there, Evo Tesla placed near the bridge so that way it can snipe the opposing Tesla. And because Ban does not have a big spell, it really feels like Adriel can take this opportunity and just go all in, cycle back and forth. Because how are you supposed to get past this Tesla?
That's a good point. I didn't even really realize it, but yeah, Ben not having the big spell, having the delivery instead, it means so focused on defense. But a lot of time these cycle matches, whoever's more aggressive is going to end up coming on top, and that is exactly what we're seeing here. The other big thing is, once again, the difference in the evolution of the Bomber and the Wall Breakers. Bomber being 1 cycle, always being a threat, whereas the Wall Breakers being 2 cycles and being easily taken out by, a Spirit plus Log or a Bomber plus Log.
And right there, Adriel deciding to go with the poison on top of the Little Prince, not really worried about the tower damage. He wants to make sure that Ban does not have a 3-card cycle. I really love that he chose to poison the Little Prince, even though most times every single player in the world is going to be thinking, hey, let me get a ton of damage. I want to try and win this now. Instead, he's going to allow the game to be over and lock up a win that way.
Yeah, I can't help but think that, Ban shaking his head here, I can't help but think maybe this is just a creation of the deck. Like, I feel like he needs a big spell in this deck. He needs the poison. I think he might have just forgotten to put it in since we are in the out of games duels here. And that is going to give Adriel a perfect situation to come and win this game, snap